Interesting, interesting, interesting. I don't like that.
Yeah, can I listen to this computer, please? Oh, how we doing here, Streamlabs? Are we up? I think we're up. Okie dokie. Let me just You know the drill. I just got to go ahead and post my link here. Share, copy. Let's do a funny picture for this one. Oh. Okay, cool. Pardon me. Trying to keep an eye here. Still have that same audio problem. I talked to some people after the fact, and there's no echo for y'all, so I'll just live with it. I put my camera on this side again. Background's less interesting, but now when I look at the chat here, I'm not like looking away from the camera. That's kind of like bad etiquette, I would suppose. You can probably hear it through my headphones. I'm listening to my, I think it's the Big Hank Mega Mix Part 1 on my Spotify. If you want to listen along, Big Hank's Mixtape Volume 1. I bet you I can share that link too. Hey, how about it? How about it? Looks like we've got one viewer. Well, hey. I'm just posting the Spotify playlist as well. Okay. Well, one is good enough for me to get started. I will open up my view here, just so I can see some comments. Quite hot. Okay. Where did I leave off last time? I know last time was right around here. I've got some extra stuff here that I haven't cleaned up yet. I'm thinking the plan tonight is going to be try to get some more inks going on down here. I'll kind of just get myself warmed up by working on something up here. So I'm going to try to get this finished up, and then I would like to hit something with some watercolors or gouache tonight. I think that would be fun to do and fun to see. So let me just kind of pick my spot here where I'm feeling like I want to put some ink down. I suppose this will be as good a spot as any. I had to fix my light a little bit here. It's always that first little bit of indecision that kind of gets you. Alright, I see I did a crack in his armor here. I can hear that fan hitting the mic. Don't know why. Just click that a little bit. Actually, let's reach over here. Okay. Face cam. If I do this, I still hear myself, so that is definitely not the answer. Whatever. I should have figured this out before, but I was busy. Okay, where were we? These little chunks, so we got here, it's probably not super clear to see, like an exposed bit of armor. So, to give it a little bit of depth, obviously we want to show a little bit of 3D nature here. This is thick and large enough to where you would actually see like inside of it and everything. But another thing to give it some scale here, because we're going to have some of these fleshy bits leaking out over here, kind of carry that design down this side of the body. So you see we've got these nice clean lines here, and then boom, this broken bit gets overtaken by this. So you see it's coming from behind it, there, and then it comes out in front. Maybe right about here. Put another one of those eyeball things. Let's see. Oh wow, 4 people. Hello, welcome, howdy. Never feel scared to type out in the chat. I took some questions earlier on Instagram. I'll probably wait a little bit for some of them. See if we get some people in here. Who knows? Also, the exposure on this camera is way too high. So let me just pop out here to try to give that a little fix. Configure video. And cool, nice little pop-up. Let's yank the brightness down a little bit. How's that look? Still a little blown out. That it's not really better, so it doesn't look like an actually exposure. Here it is. It was in another panel, my bad. How does much better. Hey, hell yeah, yippee. And now I'll bring my brightness back up. Contrast. Dude, these camera controls suck. They're not fun sliders. Okay. That should do. Sorry about that. If I didn't, oh, that's so much better. Yeah, if I didn't fix that, I would have been a pissy little baby. Okay, back to it. I don't know what this is called as far as like a piece of armor goes. Greaves are for your shins. I'm not sure. Someday I'm sure I'll find out what those hip armor pieces are. So this would be the top of his ceramite power armor. And we'll just do a little bit of shading here to try to get these to look a little bit more like they're underneath that, in the shadow of it and all. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. This is kind of the tougher part that I was dreading a little bit. Not dreading, but there's not really a lot of detail there. And that is kind of by design. I did want to kind of have it more contrasted up here. You actually can barely even see what I'm working on, too. Let's tilt that a little bit. Yeah, okay. We'll figure that out as it goes. Full of cat scratches from my cat, who may make an appearance later. Do a little Pippin cam. When you're doing any Space Marine design, you gotta have it be chunky. That is, I think 40K alongside with like WoW. I guess kind of Blizzard's art style in general, but specifically WoW. We're working with this very zoomed out camera and these low poly models, or in this case you need to pack detail into a small model. But it kind of brings you to this interesting character design philosophy of these like super exaggerated proportions where everything's kind of like squat and simple, and if you want detail, like you're probably not going to get like scroll work and filigree onto something. It's like you get like one swirl or one bit of color, and that's about it. And I like that. I think, frankly, in art, I think limitations, either like skill limitations or technical limitations, end up producing some really, really, really good and interesting designs. You can see here I basically have no paint down at all, and I may just kind of hint at that a little bit. Half of that is for myself because I'm feeling a little bit unsure. I know we're going to have an edge there. I don't want to go too dark with it, is all. I want to leave it lighter at the bottom. That's definitely something that from the beginning I wanted to pull through. So we'll leave that. I do have this. This was going to be a spine. I'm going to have to... I'm just going to take that down. I have to look up a reference for a spine. spine, human. What does what that vertebrae be looking like, girl? Okay. Okay. So, actually, this is a good little tutorial here. What do we got? A little 4B pencil here. Hopefully it's not, actually, that'll be too dark. Let's use an F lead pencil here. Hopefully, does that show up? It does not. It's okay. I got some scrap paper. So, we've got this hammer that we're working on, right? So this is our general shape of the shaft. We have this tube here. As you might imagine, if I were to try to do the spine by putting a line like that, right? That's your like your disc. Like if you slip a disc, those are the discs in between your spine, and then you basically got these kind of like upward facing fins. I don't know the anatomy term for this, but you have that. You get a little bit of bone here, but if you keep it flat like that, it's not going to look like it's got any kind of depth to it and everything. So you have to make a decision here to curve it, right? But you can curve it this way, or you could curve it this way, right? So which one is right? When we're working with something like this, which doesn't have like extreme perspective, like if we're looking at this pen here, that's pretty much as flat as I can get it to you, right? Do I have a comment here? Curvy in more ways than one. What did I say about curvy? I don't remember. This is about as close to straight on as I can get it, right? If I turn it like this end is closer to you, and vice versa. So, but it's not extreme, right? It's not like I'm putting it right up here and there's like a really big difference in perspective. So when you have something like that, basically, like if you were to do a big circle and then a smaller circle, you connect, right? Really basic perspective. Look at the way the circle goes. That is the line that you follow, right? If we're going from small to big, look at the way the circle goes. That's what we follow, and that's how we get those proper contours, which is important for any kind of details you're putting on. In this case, it's more of like a break in the geometry. And it'll also help if you're doing like hatch marks. You know, you'll come up and actually hit them the proper way instead of maybe, I don't know, if you were going the wrong way. Probably wouldn't happen. You more than likely look at that and say, that doesn't look right, and then you'd stop. Well, anyway, let's look at this vertebrae again. Set my phone down. Oh, I'm a little nervous. I'm gonna sketch them out first. So right here, we've got. It's almost shaped like an ear. That's a bean shape. There are a lot of bean shapes in your body. I don't know if you knew this, but most shapes can be broken down into an oval or a bean, which is a smashed and deformed oval. Okay, so we got that. Hole. Yeah, okay. I'm seeing the shape here. It's very scorpion-like. And then right off of here, we'll have our place where our chain comes off. There's one thing you have to know about 40K as an aesthetic is you need skulls, you need chains, purity seals, gore, badges, capes. Let's break this up again. So we got to go this way. This one is curved inward because there's a little bit of a plane change here. So that is the actual shape, not us trying to follow a contour. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll make them a little bit more tightly spaced at the top here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Add some space, and then these will be bowed in a little bit, and then got some shapes here. I feel like, oh, what do we get? Marquise, hey, what's up, man? I didn't see you at the gym today because I didn't go, but I bet you did because you're there every day. So, hey, welcome. Glad to have you. If you're in here and you didn't just subscribe. But either way, thank you, bro. So I'm realizing there's actually a little bit of a curvature that I missed here. And this way it's good. You know, you don't have to say, oh, I've got some inks down, I can't go back and sketch some more. Like, damn, dude, I'm going to go back and sketch some more. I feel like I need to. The one thing I did here, though, is this area, I can't really do anything with it. I've already worked into it. The only thing I could really do is maybe work that into the design, but then we start talking about tangential lines where you don't necessarily want, if I were to try to replicate this. Hope I'm not being too educational. Loving the art and page. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So with this, with the situation we're in, we would have our straight, our shaft of the thing, of the vertebrae here, and then because I overshot it, we would have 2 lines intersecting. Obviously, it doesn't look good. So what I could do is say, put a line here, put a line here, put a line here. And so while that technically follows the proper, you know, it's geometrically correct, right? But because of this, these tangential lines that continue on even though they're not connected to the same object, it looks wrong, right? It would look better if I was here and I had these lines intersecting underneath, and then I had that, and that, and that. This, you can much easier tell that there's a separation because my line weight's a little bit thicker and there's nothing kind of just going along with it. So that's the problem with that, so we kind of have to stay away from that. In the same front, I have this spot right here. It has to come out of the hand. There's not really any way around that. So it has to come through here. I'd like to keep this thickness too. So we will, you know what we're going to do? Break some anatomy rules here. I'm just going to bend the spine the wrong way. Or, again, I have to look at it again. It's a curve like that. Yeah. There's the fix. So here's another thing. I was too married to this right here. This is nothing. I've barely drawn anything. Why am I trying to make it work around that when I could just go and extend it out here? So now I have time to make my curve. So the majority of my curve will be here. And I will change up the perspective a little bit too. How many people we got? 7! Wow. Hey. All right. It's essentially just a box show a little bit more of that on that side. I'm probably going a little bit too big, but that's okay. Holes. And you know what I'll do? I'll put a nice iron. I don't even have to change this. I'll just put a little cuff on this. And shaboom. Pretty much the same thing. Curve like that. A big one. A big one. A bigger, smaller, getting smaller. See, did I just do it the wrong way? I actually did. I actually just did it the wrong way. I got myself confused. I'm such a fucking goon. God damn. Okay, so right about here, this is where we're hitting a little plane shift here, right? So it's facing away from us. And now at this point, from where I'm looking, I'm pretty much head on. So I'm going to gently take that curve, flatten it out a little bit. We'll get one here. And now we have switched. And now, because it's curved, it's now trying to travel away. So this is the tricky part, but now it's going away. And I think it's mostly just a diamond shape. And each one of them will get a little something like that. I will do a better job when I actually do it. Yeah, alright. What we got here? Looking sick. I love how you paint and then draw on the lines. Can't color outside the lines if there aren't any lines. Yeah, that's my little philosophy there. Yeah, I kind of just go back and forth between like doing new lines, paint, line work with the ink, pencil again. Like, I feel like there is something about the inking stage that kind of locks you into things, and that's a good thing sometimes. But this is more of just like a free form exercise, so I don't feel any reason to be like locked in and like, yeah, there we go. I feel like I've just improved this now. By being able to kind of like freely work it. Same with this skull up in the top corner. You can't really see it because of my other box, but I did that last stream in the beginning just to fix something. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Got some coffee after the mustache there. I'm getting my things here. I wonder, can I? Oh, no way. I have my Spotify on my computer, and I can control it through my phone, which is cool. There we go. Just want to open up my chat here. Somehow. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. MC. Oh, now I see your username. Hello. I assume that's Mike. What's up, buddy? You have a scrap page if you miss with ink? It seems like a huge commitment inking. So it depends. If it's early enough, I will scrap it. I don't even have any whiteout on me, but you can just use correction fluid. A lot of the times I just try to roll with it. I've had pieces where I've actually been working with like a legit dip pen like this. And these, I don't know if you can see on there, it'll be out of focus, but there's a reservoir here by where my finger is that holds the ink and everything. And if you flick it or something, it can fly off and you'll get splatters all over. And yeah, I've had times when I've had to just like toss it. Sometimes I try to work it into the design or something. Need torches and someone playing a lute in the corner would really tie the stream together. Yeah, hey, if anyone knows how to play the lute, come chill out in my office for a little bit. I was gonna put music on the stream, and I'm sure again you can hear my headphones a little bit, but I'd rather leave it. So if you want to listen to your own music, a lot of the time if I watch a stream, that's what I do. Is I'd like to play my own music and then hear the person and have the stream open. So, um, if you prefer, I find some royalty-free fantasy stuff, I can do that. But this is probably a sweeter deal for everyone. So this, under the hand, it's getting a full blast of shading. And I find another thing that I like to do, I tend to get very close to my paper. I don't know, I think that's just habit. But I've been liking to try to go quickly. I feel like I'm at a point in my technical development of my skill where I, for the most part, have like a good enough skill level to be competent with all of these motions. Like I've practiced them a lot. I've done them a lot. So for me, I think it's helpful to just do these really quick strokes. Just get the idea of the line I'm trying to do. And then I can come back in and fill it in later. But that's more granular stuff. I need to get like the big bits of ink down on the paper quickly. And this, I had a guide before, but I'm just winging it now. I looked at the paper long enough, or the picture, I should say. Nice bit of darkness there. We would see a little bit of that other side, but not much, and I'm actually going to put it in shadow here. I forgot to draw that big chain thing. Just forgot, so that is an easy fix. Easy fix, no worries. Literally just hang it off there. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, you're probably not even really going to look over at this spot. If I had to guess, it's probably one of the least interesting places you could look on this. Another thing, I do have my ruler. With anything like this, like a chain, I find it's nice to, so in this case, he is moving forward a little bit. I'd be okay with having a little bit of sway, and I kind of already have that, so what I'm gonna have to do is just kind of set a line here to follow. So there's a couple options. I could try to make it seem a little bit more in motion and have it swinging back. I could have it wrap around so it looks like he's stopping, right? The chain is moving forward here, but then it's still moving backwards. Or I could just bring it straight down. And I think I'm going to try to just bring it straight down. So I'll just line it up with the bottom of my paper here. And go like that. Looks like. Ooh, nice. Sorry if you hate cracking knuckles. I got Baroness on right now. I've been on such a Baroness kick lately. Can't seem to stop. So a little chain tip here. I guess two tips. One, if you can do anything to make your chain more interesting, then do so. In this case, I'm putting spikes on them, which would make a chain so unbelievably impractical, but much cooler looking and more ornamental, so that's why we're doing it. The second one would be, back to my example page here, if you have, like if you're doing really far off chains, I think it's totally fine to just do your link, square, link, square. From an icon standpoint, that totally brings across a chain, nothing wrong with that. If you were to extract that and have some more depth to it, right, you would have that. You have a link that wraps around, and then you have another one. The two things that I think happens with this technique is your chain starts to get fatter and fatter, but you also then you just alternate again, and then you do another one. And I think it looks kind of flat. A chain doesn't really lay like that, so what I like to do is you have one part here, and you're obscuring most of that, and it's like you see a good portion of the other side of the chain, and then we're back to this, and then we have another link. Oh, and especially if you can put like an extra twist in the chain, right, and then it restores back. That's also, and now I'm getting messy, but like it's just a little bit better. I feel like sometimes that advice is like, well, if you want to draw this better, you should just do a better job at drawing it. But that's kind of the idea, I guess, is try to break it up, make it a little more visually interesting. Like this one you can see is, I got this little diamond, it's pointing face on. This one is pointing off to the left or the right, whatever way, depends where you're standing. So it climbs through there, give it a little extra nub. Cool. This one completes. And then from this perspective, there wouldn't really be a gap, so I'll leave like a little tiny gap there, and then it'll just be dark. This also comes back to me kind of like leaving spaces so I can come back and do it later when I'm like ready to. Now this is hanging straight down, so I won't be putting any weird breaks in the chain. This, we wouldn't see anything here. And it gets covered. And again, we're still trying to follow this straight line down, so. This one will be another straight segment. Keep that one side nice and dark. I think I ended up with a little bit of a fat chain here, but that's pretty okay. It's definitely messy and chunky. It's also not really that straight down, if I'm being honest. It's hanging out a little bit. Oh well, what can you do? Okay, so I was going to do kind of like a incense burner type thing. I just had an idea though. Instead of doing your standard ball, I will do a central pillar. I'm adding so much work for myself. I can't help it. Nah. This I'm being stupid now. Do some little horns. Yeah, hold on guys, I gotta draw a skull real quick. Have you ever worked in large format, for example, 3 foot by 5 foot paper canvas? I have a very limited selection. Nothing I have to get in my closet there to do it. Not really often. And if I do, I'm definitely relying on paint more. Obviously, especially with inking, the bigger you make that canvas, you're like every inch is adding on like hours worth of work if you're being, dense with it. I think most of the big stuff I've done has really utilized the big space to make something feel empty. So it's kind of the same size. It's just on a bigger paper for the aesthetics. Um, so I guess not really. I feel like that. Yeah, it would take a lot of time, and it would be, which it isn't really a bad thing. I guess just I don't really have a lot of time. So I do have a huge paper pad though, and I feel bad because sometimes I use it for like I'll take it and I'll cut it up into like eighths and I'll use it for scrap paper. Okay, so we got a little incense dispenser here, I guess. We'll just start working that in. Especially with these wispy smoke trails, I really want to keep my hand loose. So I can just, if you're doing something smoky, you want it to look like free flowing. Oh my god. Why didn't someone say something? It's not even in shot. What a travesty. Alright. Get the light a little closer there. And I can see better too. Everybody wins. Yeah, that, wow. What a great idea. Sorry guys, thirsty tonight. If you're gonna do a lot of ink work, that's probably one of the best things that you can try to learn is like just being able to terminate your lines properly and not. So there's two things that'll end up looking bad in my opinion, right? If you have a line and you are trying to like butt up against it and you start going over, that doesn't look nice right there. If you have a line that you're abutting, and I do this probably more often, you're too scared to go over, so you cut short. That is going to look sloppy, and that is going to mess with your shading if that's not the type of effect that you're trying to do. Like if you're trying to do something where, you know, it's coming in here, and then, you know, you're showing that this is farther away, that's inside, and then you've got these, you know, it's folding outward. So that's fine. But let's say this side is in total shadow because your light source is coming from here. Well, now that doesn't look good. Now that's implying that the light is hitting there when it shouldn't be. So, and then it's so difficult to get that going again, and usually you'll mess up and you'll say, all right, now I have to cross hatch. And you already made a little mistake. Your mind to reality creation is amazing. Watching this same one. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I was just thinking about creativity today. And I say this a lot, but I think creativity is like a skill that you have to practice with and you know, let it grow. Who was I talking to? I was talking to Gus about this. Like, I'm not good at drawing cars or anything, so if I'm thinking of something, trying to be imaginative, it's not going to involve cars, because I don't really know much about them. I don't know how to draw them very well, so they're not going to pop into my head. When I think of things, I'm thinking of, you know, armor and skulls and monsters and weapons. That's what I like. That's what I know how to draw. So that's the way I think of things. If someone said, hey, I need you to draw me a cool picture, it's probably going to have muscles and, you know, weird perspective and stuff like that. Like, that's what I like. That's what I know. It's not going to be based around architecture or, you know, light, dainty things. It's not how I think. Is that like a putrid incense coming out of the skull? Yes, it is. Yeah, we got some gross. I don't know. I think it like fits into the whole kind of like plague bearer thing, how they would burn incense and everything during the plague. But in this context, you know, we got some nasty Nurgle vapors coming out of it. So I can come back and clean that up a little bit later. I'll erase some lines and get back after it. This is one of those areas where I'm maybe treating it a little bit messier because it's not like a focal point, so just kind of off to the side. Alright, let's finish up this spine. Still in shot there? Yeah, we're looking good. As for this, I'm kind of just making up the shape. Why is this song on my playlist? This song kind of stank. Mirror Messiah, Black Pyramid. That's a no for me. That's a getting the boot after this. Defo. So another thing here, we'll get my scrap out again. So we've got a cylinder, right? This is going to be based off of where your light source is. So let's say we're trying to show shading on this. We've got our light source above, as you most often would, being the sun or some kind of light. You also have bounce light coming off of the ground, either just reflection from the ground, if you're on a reflective surface. In this case, it's like a war zone, so you kind of got fire on the ground and everything, I guess. I don't know. even if the light is coming from behind and everything, you're still going to get some light wrap around. So primarily light area right here, shadow area right here. If you start all the way down at the bottom, you're more or less implying that it's in total shadow. So what I like to do a lot of the time is have it kind of in the middle here. This kind of lets you imply that light wrapping around, which makes it seem a little bit more realistic, I think, because that's kind of a physical phenomenon that you actually see, is the bounce light coming around the edge. Core shadow, I think, is what you'd call it in art terms, right? This portion right here would be where you have your strongest shadow. This is something that I use pretty often when doing like metals and everything. Metals are super reflective. Not all the time, I guess, but they can be super reflective, so you get these really exaggerated core shadow areas that are super dark and these super bright reflective areas. So that's the idea there, with not starting right at the end. Now somewhere right here, it's up against this. There is no light really. If I were painting it, I'd have like maybe some green bounce light or something. Like painting, like oil painting, like a real painter, not like a fake watercolor painter like I am. And yeah, it looks a little weird right now because there's no paint under it like there is the other stuff, and there's a bunch of dirty, nasty pencils underneath that we'll have to erase. It's sucked right up against his body. It's further out, so I wouldn't necessarily have shadows right here. I know that I've kind of scribbled here with my thing, but maybe here I would have some shadows, but I'll leave that to the watercolor, I think. Now here I will have shadows, but again I'm going to leave that to the watercolor just to leave it a little more. Try to pull some detail out of this area. I also need to raise my feet. I'm slipping. 12 viewers. Holy smokes, guys. Just joined. How's the streaming going, big dog? It's been going great. We just finished up this area here. The spinal column. I've been doing some demos on here. Just talking about art concepts. I don't know if that's something that people want to learn about. I don't know if you're here to watch or here to learn, anything like that, but hey, we'll do what we do. Okay, let's adjust the camera a little bit here. We're gonna hit this area and then we'll go to the skull. This area I'm going to have not be spinal. I obviously didn't plan for it or anything. So instead we will do just kind of like a wrapped fabric type texture. Probably go from here to here, and we'll do something else with this. Maybe like a petrified wood type of thing. There goes my cap. I'm gonna put that in my mouth. And this is one of my favorite ways to do like a wrapped hilt type of thing, or I guess it's a haft since it's a hammer, not a hilt. But the initial one should be a curve, like a really significant curve to show the shape, and then maybe that, and we're basically making triangles. And, you know, always keep your light in mind. Where is it going to be darker? Right there. Do you have to be neat and organized with this? No. Not at all. be as organized or disorganized as you feel, as you see fit. Fill in some of these little gaps here. Let's see. I'm gonna open up my Instagram real quick, see if I got any more questions. Oh, where's that question post? Let's see. Okay, I'll start with the first one. Tips for legs, which would mean tips for growing your legs. Do I have any specific tips? I find giving tips for like a specific muscle group is difficult because for the most part, I can't really think of an exception to this. You're gonna train. It's all muscle. You're gonna train your muscles like muscles, right? I think that's one of the problems that people run into with ab training is they're not training their abs like they would train their other muscles. It's not like, oh, I want to work my biceps. I will do like 3 sets of just squeezing my arm with very little resistance once a week and expect something to happen. Like, you gotta add to it. You have to do progressive overload. You have to use weighted exercises. You have to move with a full range of motion. That being said, hack squats are prime time. I love hack squats. I'm not a big deadlift guy, to be quite frank. I like Romanian deadlifts or stiff leg deadlifts. I think those are really nice, but just not super into deadlifts, honestly. That's probably a controversial opinion. I guess I think, in my opinion, there's maybe kind of like a really skewed risk reward and also like recovery to reward. Like their deadlifts are pretty brutal. Like you're gonna be recovering for a while. And I'm not saying you can't do them if you enjoy them, but I guess, hey, I give you a really good hamstring workout and you're recovered in like a few days to, oh, you get like maybe not the best hamstring isolation, and you have to recover far longer, is how I kind of see deadlifts, right? Not that you're just using your hamstrings, but you know what I mean. And I am not really sure what I'm kind of going for here. Finally broke down and put our AC units in. How have you not had AC units this whole time? Honestly. I've had my AC unit in since like May. Do you do any barbell bench press, or do you prefer dumbbells? I prefer dumbbells. I haven't done barbell bench press in a while. I will do incline barbell. I prefer incline to flat as a movement in general. If we can't really get a good spot, we'll go with the barbell. But I'm definitely more of a fan of dumbbells. Also, just because I think dumbbells kind of work better in a group setting. If you're not using all the same weight, it's a lot easier to just like toss your dumbbells aside and grab another pair than to like keep racking and re-racking, which is not a big deal, obviously, to rack and re-rack, but any bit of efficiency can and should be capitalized on. There. I just kind of did like a gross wood grain, I guess. Nothing special. I gotta make sure I'm not overworking things. I don't want to not leave anything for the paint to do, right? And then if I'm full detail with the ink and then trying to detail with the paint again, it's gonna look like a mess. So they spend all my time in your AC. Well, fair. I answered that question, right? Yeah. Yeah, I would give dumbbell the preference. Plus, I think the range of motion is probably uh, more effective, more conducive to keeping your shoulders healthy and everything. I'm not gonna shit on barbells like they haven't been, like pretend they haven't been a big, huge part of my training thus far. But I've been estranged from barbells a little bit. Is it really saying I've been live for 10 minutes? I haven't been live for 10 minutes. It's been like an hour. Why does it say that? That's wrong. Alright. Big skull time. So you can't even really see the big skull yet. Wait until I show you this. Let's get a nice appropriate light level here. Aha, maybe. Sorry, fellas and fellettes. I'm changing the entire light setup here. I just don't want it to be too blown out. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to say that looks okay. So, what I've designed here is a living skull that's hooked up to all these tubes. And it's being used as a hammer with this like gross shit coming out of it. So, I'm just going to start with the foreground here, and I'm casting a buttload of shadows. Any foods to help make getting in calories on a bulk easier? I've been struggling to get some extra calories in lately. Fats are going to be, just from a caloric standpoint, you can add olive oil, or I can't do coconut, I'm allergic, but coconut oil, butter, ghee, anything that is high in fat content is going to help, and should probably mix in pretty well. You can put like butter in your rice, mix in olive oil with pretty much any dish. It's relatively, not completely flavorless, but relatively flavorless. I would stay far away from anything like canola oil or palm oil. Not a big fan of those. Peanut butter is like a big one that people go for, but fats have 9 calories per gram, whereas protein and carbs have 4. So more than double the nutritional or caloric value, which is definitely going to help. Fairlife chocolate milk. I think those are only like, what, 120 calories? It's not bad. I mean, if you're having a trouble because your appetite, like, I find there's people who aren't hungry, and then there's people who don't have the time to eat. The answer for both would probably be to try to mix more fats directly into your food. Again, that's just for getting your calories in. If you're just asking for a suggestion of like what I like to eat, it's really just chicken and rice for the most part. I've had only chicken and rice for like 3 weeks straight. Beef is going to be a lot better if you're on a cut, or on a bulk, I should say. I don't know what I just heard there. Bad lines. What am I doing? Yeah, I mean, I can just bring that line in there. It's not going to be too big of a deal. I think there's going to be enough line work going on in this sector to. Yeah, okay, that looks fine. Just want to make sure it looks fine on camera. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. One of the other questions I got on Instagram was asking what my favorite point of view character in the book being Storm of Swords, the third Game of Thrones Ice and Fire book. So it's a 47-hour long audiobook. And I'm about 17, maybe closer to 18 hours in. So far, usually John John and Arya have been my favorite POV characters. The points of the story that they're in are very, I don't know, transient. They're both kind of just not really doing much right now. So I would definitely say Jamie is probably my favorite POV character at the moment. Um, he's just, he's every time he's in the story, something is happening. Daenerys' story has also gotten um, quite interesting. She was kind of meandering along for a while, and I was getting bored with it. But we just had a good part. Um, I will. I will keep spoilers to a minimum, or not at all, unless someone wants to actively talk about Game of Thrones. But I don't want to spoil anyone. That's not nice. Nice. I have some King Gizzard playing right now. Um, that's fucking gnarly. I love it so far. Hmm. be interesting to see you make some Game of Thrones characters in the Warhammer style, like your Robert sketch. Oh yeah. Where is that Robert sketch? I think it's in my fanny pack still, but honestly, Game of Thrones houses as like guardsmen regiments, with maybe their like hero characters being space marines or something. It's a pretty cool idea, I have to admit. I have to admit. Of course, House Stark would be the Space Wolves. That's a given. Since both factions cannot just stop saying the word wolf. The idea, I guess, behind this is that there's like a life support system or something in here that's actually keeping this skull alive. Which, if you think about the perspective and the scale here, it's way bigger than an Astartes head, which is way bigger than a human. So I don't know what the fuck it's supposed to be, but we'll say it's a really big Ogren. How about that? But yeah, I feel like a skull, like or a being trapped in their skull, suffering on the end of a hammer, being forced to bludgeon and murder the people that it is trying to protect. That's pretty metal, pretty Warhammer. But where did he get the skull? Well, he had to take it from someone's head. And I know taking skulls is a Khorne thing, not a Nurgle thing, but I'd say there's probably some reasonable overlap that could be speculated at. If you don't know a whole lot about Warhammer, one of the main things about the Imperium, which would be the human faction, is that long ago, in the 20,000s, I think, in the 20,000s, they had legitimate AI, and they were called the Men of Iron. And they essentially went Skynet mode and threatened to destroy the entire human race because they were so unbelievably, powerful and OP and everything. So collectively, humanity just decided no more AI, too dangerous. We can't be messing with that. So they've gotten rid of AI, but they still have need, and I mean like a home PC would probably be considered a bit much with what they can do. So what they do for their processing power is they use human beings, and they're called servitors, and they're essentially just lobotomized human beings that are used for menial tasks and processing power and everything. And they have servo skulls, which are, I don't know, you can think of a servo skull as like a really macabre cell phone or something. They have data slates too, like a little personal assistant that follows you around, but it's someone's severed head with like robot eyes in it. Which, if I had the option, I'd probably take one. I wonder what they'd have to say about it at work. It's not a cell phone, so they'd at least have to go through the trouble of writing it into the rules to spite me. Which, hey, that's fine by me. eyes record anything? Yeah, Servo Skull's eyes could record something. Potentially. Yeah, we wouldn't want our competition knowing that our polystyrene boards are made the way that polystyrene boards are made. I'm just realizing how mismatched these are. You probably can't see that either. How far? We're about an hour and a half in already, which is pretty wild to me. I believe what I will do is I'll take a little bit more of a crack down here. Just got to readjust here a little bit so you can see. I'll hit a little bit of this, and then I'm going to erase real quick, and I will try to get a little bit of painting done. Here, Okay, yeah. Probably not enough white paint. Probably not. What do you mean, John? Not enough white paint for what? What did I just say? This is going to be a cloth tabard. Not enough white to paint me nude. Jeez, what a birthday present to me. To be able to Titanic you? Oh, baby. Oh. Did he? I don't see that in the chat. Did that not come through? I wonder if French is a banned word. Of course it is. I set it up like that. I insta-banned all of France. Preemptively. Man, I saw you typed the N-word and I got scared for a second. Lord have mercy. Yeah, naked, nude. I don't know. I genuinely haven't set up any kind of filters or anything. I figured I could trust the few people that would show up here to behave and not get me in trouble. Okay. Well, hey, cool thing about microns is they're pretty much dry as soon as you put them down. So, let's spend a few minutes painting. it just sounds so good. Yeah, it's okay. I'm still getting fucked up with the mics here. My eraser's here. Let me shrink myself down a little bit. Become smaller. Yeah, oh, better. Less of me you gotta look at, the better. Okay. I'm out of coffee. I'm gonna take like a 2-minute step outside here. I'll be right back. We'll start painting. Once I eat, get some coffee. Hey, Dad, what's up? Let's get back at it. I almost close. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's half a result of me leaving it pretty much white, and I also threw some alcohol markers on it a little bit earlier on, or I guess later. Earlier in last stream. So we're just trying to take more pencil off. Don't need that anymore. Some of the pencil is pretty entrenched in there, and it will stick around until the end of days. That's not really a big deal because we're going to paint over it. But all right, that's working pretty well. I got some some spots where it's not coming up so good. And that's my own fault. I was a little bit impatient. I wanted to get going. I didn't want to sit in a race. Maybe I wasn't feeling confident enough. And there we go. Tomorrow, looks like I'm going to have to do a little art store run tomorrow because this is, that's what I have left for an eraser. So I'll just be tackling this a little bit. And oh god, oh I don't, oh shit, see, I don't know if I'll have enough. It's just so crumbly. Gosh dang it. Maybe a little bit here. Oh no, I don't have enough. I've lost it. It's dead. Alright. Let's do some watercolor. We got, oh, opens from this side. brush, little brush. We'll be starting with little brush here. You can't see it, but I got a little scratch pad here for my testing, and shebang, a little cup of water. That'll be down here with me. I suppose the wisest move would be to start with the greens. It would be the smartest. Is that what I'm gonna do? I haven't decided yet. Actually, I will tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hit these parts that haven't really gotten anything yet first. And then I will move along. So, instead of doing this off screen, I'll do this here. So I usually just like to use the middle tray. I don't hate what I have in here. It's pretty much just mud at this point. So, should I be cleaning this after I'm done? Yes, but I never do. Okay, brush is nice and wet, so we got to do a little bone color here. So we'll take a little bit of this. It's a good start. I want to maybe knock it down a little bit as far as like saturation goes. So we'll complement it with some blue. And that'll gray it up a little bit. It's a little bit muddy now, so I'll pop in with a little bit more of like a vibrant yellow. Try to bring it back to life a little bit. And I'll just grab a little white. And if you asked me, I'd say that's a pretty decent bone tone. Maybe a little bit more of that. Yeah, I think that'll be good. You have to keep in mind, it's going to go on a little bit less aggressively. And as long as we're keeping it down to the eyes, I have been practicing at length doing this, holding the brush quite far from your, from where you're, I guess, yeah, holding it far up or far down. I guess it would be up. I guess there's no real argument to be made that it's down. And there we go. Get some bone tones there. I'll try to, right off the bat, go darker in some spots with this yellowy tone. And then I'm also going to give the extra yellow to the teeth. Whatever type of creature this was, he was a coffee drinker. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for a second. I'm just going to hit this down here with the same thing. Get a little extra water from my brush. I'm running out of juice a little bit here as far as what I have for pigment, so we'll have to mix up a little bit more. A little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. There we go. I've got this kind of warmer tone there. I'm going to add just a little bit of orange in. And a little bit of extra yellow. A little richer tone. And I will do a quick pass on this chain. To continue on, I'll take some of this other brown, mix it with a little bit of red and a little bit of blue, a little more, and I'll cheat a little bit with this super dark. Some color on this. Favorite location in Game of Thrones so far? Honestly, I really I like everything that's happening over in ASOS. This, not Siri, the Daenerys plot line. I like Koth and Vase Dothrak and everything. I think I like it because it really just reminds me of like the old Conan stories. They were all kind of like in this like deserty wasteland. I feel like the not the Khalasar, but the Dothraki and that whole area of ASOS is like, it's obviously very inspired by like Egypt and the Middle East and everything, which is also what Conan was heavily inspired by. So it just kind of takes me back. I like that a lot. I like the idea of the Riverlands too, probably just because the Riverlands like sounds like it would be kind of like the location we live in upstate New York, like just lots of like forest and river. Fairly cold, but not like, I feel like the north is supposed to be like, you're kind of like Anglo-Nordic, like super heavy winter type thing, which I guess we kind of have as well, but yeah. So I kind of like Essos is my answer there. Let's get some pigment on there. We'll start off a little bit of blue. Take some of that lighter brown. Some very dark brown. And some red. And a bit heavy on the red, so we'll grab some of that. paint mix here keeps falling down. Favorite location in Lord of the Rings? That is actually a really tough question. I think it would depend on the day with what I would answer you with. Because the Shire is so cozy and nice. I kind of want to say Edoras, because I am a Rohan man. If I had to pick where to live, it'd probably be Edoras / Rohan, the countryside. But Minas Tirith is obviously like gorgeous as well. So I'd probably say Edoras / Rohan in general. Probably a pretty safe and boring answer, but hey, it's not untrue. I'm gonna try to lift a little bit of this paint up. I feel like I went a little too dark here. So we'll just bring it up. So right now I've got the eyes nice and wet, and now I'm just kind of dabbling in pigment on the edges to fade it. I'm reading through Lord of the Rings for the first time. Currently on the Two Towers book right now, and I just got to the chapters in Edoras. Yeah, that's some good stuff there. I mean, I've always loved Rohan. I've always loved the music that they showed in the movies and everything. It's great because there are a lot more characters in the books, as you might imagine. There's a lot more Rohirrim characters, and they get a little bit more to do. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely get more Éomer as well, which is like, that's A1 in my book. I love Éomer. And you get more Éowyn. You know, they did a good job of kind of like condensing her scenes down and everything, but I'm definitely always glad to have more of the best woman in fiction. Sorry, I'm off camera here. I'm mixing a little bit of paint for this like bile vomit stuff that's coming out. I should actually probably shrink the text box a little bit so you can actually see. Hey, ow, my knee. Let's shrink that. Cool. A little bit better. Was just reading up on Conan. Netflix has exclusive rights for live action animation. Pathfinder Media is running it. Still looking for writer, producer, no word on the story. Okay, well, I mean, maybe there's some time to, I don't know, convince them not to do it. I love Conan, and I feel like Conan, like, at some points has to feel like a guilty pleasure or something. There's no way you could do an accurate telling of Conan. I'm sorry, Conan is like a not noble, like murderous, misogynist, like, you know. But he's cool. Sometimes guys who aren't perfect and have bad traits are still cool. Hence why I am like super super into Jaime Lannister in these books. Like, it's just interesting. But like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna take Conan. They're gonna make him a noble savage type and give him this weird honor, which he doesn't really have, by the way. Conan runs from fights. He decides, this isn't fucking worth it. I'm out of here. Like, all the time. You know. So far as I know, I haven't read a book where he, you know, imposes himself upon any women or anything. That doesn't seem to be in his character, but still, it's like he's kind of an asshole to women. He kind of treats them like, you know, inferior things. And it's like, I don't know, isn't it disingenuous to take that away from the character? Like, if you wanted a character that was basically like Conan but like nicer, then just make a show about that. Don't change the character and then say, this is it now. This is Conan now. But no. Netflix will just serve you up a bunch of slop and say, you have to like it. And if you don't, you're a bad person. Now, don't share those passwords. Thanks, guys. Yeah, the Conan the Adventurer series failed. Literally, here's the thing. I've got a book about this thick of all the original Conan stories. Literally just go through and adapt those. There's a couple that you probably can't do just because of their like content. You know, I can admit that like some of the content in there is probably just like stay away from that, but that's all you got to do. Just adapt that, and you're pretty much set. But we know that they won't. I have to grab my other paint palette here. Sometimes I need to steal some pigment from this bad boy. Mainly these warm tones here. I only really have like yellows and oranges. I only have like one reddish tone, so I need to kind of steal some of these reddish tones. I'm going to do the guts right now. The Momoa remake wasn't all that bad in my opinion. It can happen. Oh, I don't know if I can agree. I think there's things that I liked about the Jason Momoa version. I hated a lot of the character design, specifically for the villain and the villain's daughter. Like, literally some of the worst designs I've ever seen for any character. I hated that. The last action sequence was, like, very not good, in my opinion. Just because it kind of turned into, like, oh, I've got to fight you, but now the floor is falling away, and now, you know, it's just like, oh, the danger is being added on and added on, instead of it just being like, this bad guy is dangerous and I have to fight him and kill him. Like, again, you know, not to be like, it has to be like the original Conan movie. That's the only thing I accept. Because I can admit that the original Conan movie wasn't even that good of like a Conan adaptation. Like, it was more, and this is not my original thought, someone else's, but it really was more of a Kull adaptation, Kull the Conqueror, he was more noble and stuff like that. But it was still excellent. Okay. Tilt around here a little bit. Actually, let's start right up here. So what we're doing is I'm getting this wet down a little bit. And I'm letting it pool up. Brush is real wet right now, so we're going to let this kind of hydrate the paper a little bit. It'll give us some extra tone. Anyone else in the chat who does art, do you guys make sound effects with your mouth when you do like I don't know. I don't know if that's a habit that's like very specific to me. I feel like it can't be. I feel like there's no way that's just a me thing. There's no way I'm the only weirdo in the world. Yeah, the idea of anyone but John Milius, the director of the original Conan movie, having their hands on Conan as an IP is like, makes my teeth fucking rattle. I literally do all the time doing random things. Yeah, you gotta make sound effects. The reason that I got this top part kind of wet down and then moved away from it is because I got it too hydrated. So I decided to leave it alone for a little bit so I can come in. If it's too, I won't be able to get enough like pigment saturation if it's too hydrated. is realistic. Yeah, it definitely looks better with some pigmentation there. Let's see. Can I start to? Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Am I gonna read Dune anytime soon? Oh man, I don't know. um, 47 hours of Ice and Fire is what I have to look forward to at the moment, and then there's more books after that, and I don't know if I'm gonna need a break or what. If I'm gonna need a break from audiobooks in general, which is probably pretty likely, considering. I mean, I've crushed through those books. I definitely want to go through Dune though. Like it's absolutely in my wheelhouse, up my alley. I guess I'm just daunted by the sheer girth of the book. It's just a lot. Uh-oh, we got a little oopsie there. See if I can't. Eh. Saved a little bit of it. So one of the advantages to underpainting is you can, when you go in and you really start trying to actually like get your colors looking nice and rich, you don't have to be super meticulous. You don't have to worry so much about having holes and gaps. And you see you still have some bluish tones and stuff over here. It's like you get a little bit of tonality coming through. And that is always a good thing. A little bit of extra tone can go a long way. I'm gonna give a little love here. my goal has to be to get my computer upgraded and everything by the time Dark Tide comes out. Because I'm going to be very upset if I don't actually get to play it. And quite frankly, it looks amazing, which means my PC probably can't run it as it exists now. And get a little water on the brush. Trying to blend some things out a little bit. And wow, that looks way more, I don't know, pops way better. So we will leave that for a moment, and let's start working away at our green again. I'll mix it. Yeah, I'll just put it on top. It won't be a big deal. Let's mix some paint. So I'm actually starting my green off with this kind of khaki mustard color, because that's what I started off with before. I'll take this lighter green and get a lot of that, like a lot. And that is basically kind of like a OD military green kind of color. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit more yellow, and actually a little bit more still of this bright yellow. Death Guard green, I think. Kind of want it like sickly. Sickly is what we're looking for here. So I think that looks pretty sickly. And we will just work our way left to right. Never. No, I'll do left to right this time. Let's do a little test here. Knock some of that off my brush. Yeah. Okay. And right off the bat, I can just tell I'm going to want to use my bigger brush. Got a little stray hair on the brush. All taken care of. Another one. That's what I'm talking about right here when I say it's too saturated. So I'm not really able to get like deep colors out of it, which is okay for now. Go for something kind of muddied up looking. song that just came on for me is Blood and Thunder by Mastodon. I wish, like, radio DJ, I wish that was, like, still a career you could, like, actually do. I feel like I'd have them be like, hey, coming up next, we're listening to Blood and Thunder by Mastodon. This is... What is it, 10 o'clock? This is Big Hang, your 10 o'clock metal hour. Only metal for 1 hour, no commercials. I don't know. I think it'd be terribly fun. Mastodon. I think Mastodon's a really good band, but I gotta be frank. I gotta keep it 100. Hushed and Grey, newest album. I've listened to it maybe 3 times at this point. And maybe number 4 is the one. Maybe listen, number 4 is going to be the one that makes me like be like, you know what, guys, I was wrong. Hush and Grim is a great album, but I'm just not into it. I just don't really like it. I don't know what to say. Like, I feel like the album that Blood and Thunder is off of is Leviathan. I think Leviathan's fucking fantastic. I even like Emperor of Sand more, I think. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the album. Like, I can't look at it and be like, this is just bad. I don't like it. I just didn't enjoy it. I don't know. And it's long too. Even bands that I like, long albums kind of grate me. Horizon is getting pretty good story-wise. Well, that's good. I would hope so. Did they actually... I remember they released art or a trailer for Horizon, and they made Aloy fatter or something, and people were really upset about it. Did they actually make her fatter or what? LMK, if she fat now. You like any death metal bands? I love a lot of the music posts on Instagram, by the way. Well, thank you. I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, I would say Mastodon. Boy, I don't know. Leviathan is a heavy album for sure. I don't know if they're technically considered. I think they might be like prog metal. Yeah, I'm not good with the distinctions of what's what for metal. I think I like a lot of like stoner metal. I think that's what like The Sword and like Green Lung and everything are considered, but I like Exodus. I like Ex Mortis. Those are my 2 E bands that I like. Gosh, who else? I feel like I'm having a hard time thinking and painting at the same time. I was a huge Amon Amarth fan back in like college. I still like them. I think their newer album was good. I guess it's more just like, I don't go out of my way to listen to Amon Amarth too much. I suppose I just never really find myself going, I really need to listen to Free Will Sacrifice or Twilight of the Thunder God. Although if Mike is still in the chat, holy smokes, was that a lightning strike the other day, speaking of Thunder God. Stop me in my fucking tracks. What else do I like for death metal? Unironically like Metalocalypse / Death Clock and Brendan Small. Just a legitimately super talented musician. know that Mike in here loves Cradle of Filth, and I still have to give them a shot because I said I would, which I mean I want to listen to them, but I just haven't done that yet because I am a little shitter. Oh man, you wanna hear a good metal band? Is Whispered, who I believe is Norwegian, but they do all Japanese styled metal, and as far as I can tell, their lyrics are pretty much all about different like folklore and mythology in Japanese culture. So very, very good. I think a lot of the time you say like Japanese metal and people are thinking like anime, which obviously is something I am very into, but also not for everybody. Not everybody's bump and groove, that anime. Whispered, yeah, dude. Oh, I don't even know if Whispered would be like considered popular, but that's crazy that you know them. Hold the Word is a good one to check out. Okay, I know this is more like power metal and stuff. But like, I love Sabaton, and Sabaton's just so cheesy and fun. And I was just about to say another one, Blind Guardian. Hold the Sword. Yes, yes. Hold the Sword is a great song. As is Sukai Kari is a good one. Let's do. I'm going to bring in a browner tone here. Dimmu Borgir. I gotta be honest with you, that sounds like a joke name. I just assume he's Swedish. Yeah, see, I'm a real fan. I remember songs right off the dome there. I think I had suggested it to Mike, but Brothers of Metal is like a very fun. They're like kind of like a cheesy power metal band, which is like I absolutely love that style to death. So, but they like to sing about Norse mythology, and their album Embla's Saga is like a really good retelling of like some of the key parts of Norse mythology. So I would highly recommend that if that is anything that you're interested in. And obviously the music's good, and it's not just a good story, but I hold that music doesn't have to be deep or have any meaning. It can just sound cool, and that can be like the only thing that you really engage with it. What? Dimmu Burger was the restaurant Nathan Explosion kept having nightmares about working in. They influenced Death Clock. Wait, is this something from the show that I don't remember, or do you mean like Brendan Small, Nathan Explosion, like the creator? I feel like a dummy and like I'm missing something. Because I also feel like I've watched every bit of Metalocalypse, but that I don't think is the case. Although now I want to watch Doomstar Requiem over the weekend, so thanks. It's going to chew up a whole hour and a half. Can't really see down here, but I am mixing my earth tones, my browns and stuff, with some reds, which works well because it makes it look rusty. Also gives it some extra variance, though, especially in something that, like, by nature has to be monochrome. Like, you know, it's like it's a military uniform of sorts. You know what I mean? They kind of have to be these colors for them to be Death Guard. So anywhere you can add in some kind of visual interest, you can add in some different colors, spice things up. You should be striving to do so. Dimmu Burger was a joke in Metal Ox into Black Mirror. Oh, Dimmu Burger is a joke. Dimmu Burger, I gotcha. I'm sensing a Metalocalypse clip marathon coming up soon. What else do I listen to? I listen to like a lot of dad metal. Like I like Judas Priest and Metallica and Iron Maiden. Not dad metal, but Wolftooth is a really good band that I haven't listened to in a while, and they popped into my playlist. I was quite happy about that. Hello, friend. Hey, Jack. What's up, buddy? What's up? Good night, friend. Thanks for popping in to say hey. I appreciate you. I hope your prep's going well. And have a good weekend if I don't get to talk to you. That's looking pretty contrasted. I can definitely tell my camera is picking up like a different color space than what's in reality, so definitely look on Instagram for some more accurate colors later on. Oh yeah, still 7 people. I am low-key kind of in shock. Oh, okay. You know what? Another great band I was listening to today is Acid Mammoth. That is some definitely, like, some super slow and heavy, grinding, some, like, slow stoner metal. Definitely not for everybody. But pretty crazy. There's a song, if I were to recommend one, it would be Them, with an exclamation point. And man, it's a father-son band. I don't know if they have other members or if it's just the two of them doing everything. But their song, Them, sounds so much like Ozzy. It's not even funny. And I was in shock that it was a different band besides Sabbath. So, really good stuff. But again, if you're not really into like really low droning, basically, if you can listen to Elder, you're gonna be able to listen to these guys. So for this horn here, I'm trying to throw in some bluish tones, which doesn't seem to be working too well for me, but I tried. Clean the brush off a little bit. I'm going to grab one of these yellowy tones, try to make a really pale green, and I'm going to fill in some of these pustules here. And I will also, you can't see this unfortunately, but I have a couple down here. I'm just going to fill in real quick. Down there, these ones. Nothing special to look at. Okay, I'm gonna say probably last little bit here, and we're down to 5 viewers. I've been going for what, 2-ish hours or so. So let's get some golds on here, and we will call it a night. What are your birthday plans? I don't know. I don't know, truthfully. I guess it'll depend on the weather. To some degree. We're gonna go see my parents, regardless. Just mixing up a little gold here. Should get some Goku. What? Oh, Gaku. Gotcha. I suppose. I don't really care. I have a long weekend and I'll get to see my friends. That's really all I could ask for. So the song that's playing for me right now is Deconstruction by Witchcraft. And I think this is the first time I've ever listened to my actual good headphones. It sounds so different and so much better. And I already like this song to begin with, so this is a real treat, I have to say. I'm down here now. Just throwing a little gold Just a little bit of gold down here. Banger song. Yeah. Yeah, I love that song. I think Witchcraft as a whole has really started to grow on me a lot. I've kind of cherry-picked songs from them, but the more I listen, the more I'm realizing that most of the stuff they've come out with is pretty solid. Pretty solid, pretty listenable. And you know what? There's also, what is it called? Melted Corpse? The song is called Eat Cops. That's like the title track of their album. I want to say Melted Corpse? Oh, shoot. Hang on. One moment. Melted Bodies? Melted Bodies. Okay. Yes. They had a really nice album that came out recently, and I want to listen to it again. Their Melted Bodies is essentially just if you want to listen to System of a Down, but you know, some System of a Down you haven't heard yet, I guess you'd go and listen to Melted Bodies, and they're quite good. I give them a solid. I would solidly put them like above like Greta Van Fleet as far as like copycats, just because. Well, I like Greta Van Fleet. I'm not gonna shit on them too much. I'll be nice. No, I won't. What bothers me about Greta Van Fleet is they got famous because they sounded just like Led Zeppelin, and then people are like, "Oh, Greta Van Fleet, that's that band that sounds just like Led Zeppelin," and they're sitting there going, "We're our own thing," which is fair. They are their own thing, but you can't just kind of like get popular by sounding like Led Zeppelin, and then be like mad when people like bring it up and kind of know you for that and kind of expect that from you. And you can't say, no, that was just our stuff. Bro, you can't just say, oh, I just sounded like Zeppelin. Nobody sounds like one of the best bands ever by accident. Sorry. I'm over Greta Van Fleet. They're being played so damn much. That I wouldn't know because I'm not a radio guy. But I'm sure they're playing Black Smoke Rising and Highway Tune all over the place if they are playing anything. Especially because Led Zeppelin is so famously hard to, you know, get rights to, which is why you're only going to hear like Stairway, maybe Immigrant Song, Rock and Roll, all good songs, of course, but like you're not going to hear a lot of Zeppelin's discography on the radio, is what I'm saying. I'll see you later. I'll follow this point. See, that'll be fun. I'm sure their live shows are great. It's more just like that attitude of like kind of being mad that people. I don't know. I can empathize with a little bit, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't want that. I'm sure I would get tired of it if people said, like, only ever said, you remind me of this painter. But if I intentionally went out of my way to be like that painter all the time, I guess, I don't know. Overplayed by radio as well as close friends at parties. Oh, I see. Damn, bro, what kind of parties are you going to where they're playing Van Fleet instead of, like, regular house music? I'm not saying I would go to a party if they're just playing music that I like, but it would definitely sway me a bit. Drunk Meg in the garage. I remember one time, it was actually a Wolftooth album. I was listening to it, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty good." And I was like, "Oh, can I put something on the music, the radio here?" And I put that on, and then nobody took it off, and the whole album played like 3 times, and I felt kind of bad. But hey, Wolftooth, self-titled album, Wolftooth. always breaks out. Greta Van Fleet. I have to maybe I should backtrack. I don't even know if I like Greta Van Fleet all that much. I know like 4 songs by them, and I think they're pretty good. If you want another imitation band, Dirty Honey is just like Aerosmith, with like a little bit of like Guns N' Roses thrown in. Very, very pleasant. I enjoy them quite a lot. I have nothing but good things to say about Dirty Honey. Ouch. Phew. I've been sitting on my foot for... forgot I got coffee, too. Absolute ace move, forgetting about that coffee. Definitely shouldn't have drank it at almost 11 at night, but we're just going to have to deal with that. Yeah, almost 11. Got quite a fair bit done. Been on for a while. I think I'll be calling it here, and I shall release you fine people to the rest of your evening. I will let you know I still plan to stream Sunday night. That could be subject to change. I'll be having my birthday this weekend on Saturday, so on the offhand, anything goes awry or I don't plan my time well and I really need to scramble for work on Monday, on Sunday, then maybe it won't be in the cards, but hopefully it will be. My camera quality feels like it's not the greatest that it could be. But, keep your eyes peeled. This will be on Instagram in probably about 5 minutes. Give it a little bit of time to dry. And, I think maybe have a good one, man. Have a good one, Isaac. Thank you for showing up. Thank everyone for showing up. 8 people. I think we were up to maybe like 11 or so. That's real good. Thursday night, I'm very humbled to see people constantly turning up to come and watch something like this. So thank you all very much. Keep an eye out for this here. I'm really happy with how it's coming along, and we basically just have this camera, pick it up here. We basically only have this bottom portion here with the guardsmen and these two. Oh, you can barely see it. I can barely see it here with my pencils. But that's what we got. Nasty boy. All right, everybody, be good. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.